ASEAN Special Envoy Prak Sokhonn is in Myanmar until Sunday. His 5-day visit is a bid to end violence and distribute humanitarian aid in the strife-torn country. But sources say he faces an uphill task. China's foreign minister is also headed to the crisis-torn country this weekend. And this will be Beijing's highest-profile visit to the country since the military seized power last year. Envoy has more.
Sending aid to people in Myanmar is one of the Special Envoy's priorities in his latest trip, which comes 3 months after his first visit. Aid groups say there are some 14 million people who need help.
But I'm told that these groups are facing various challenges on the ground. Sources say the Myanmar army isn't cooperating with aid workers who are tasked to assess the people's needs. For instance, aid workers can't get access to areas controlled by ethnic armed groups. I'm told that getting aid supply seems to be becoming less of a priority for the country. One reason is that access to COVID-19 vaccines has already improved, with some 35 million out of 55 million people vaccinated based on the latest data.
ASEAN Chair Cambodia also faces other hurdles in ensuring the implementation of the bloc's agreed peace plan called the 5-point consensus. Violence has not ceased, but it's a precondition to peace talks.
Violence on the ground must be stopped, ceasefire, right? And then allow the humanitarian assistance to move in to the needy people of Myanmar. And then the inclusive, constructive dialogues will be taking place. Because if they cannot make progress on the implementation of 5-point consensus, there's not much we can help Myanmar in a way.
The Myanmar army had in April reached out to ethnic armed groups for peace talks. So far, nearly 10 out of the country's 20-odd ethnic armed groups have met Army Chief Min Aung Hlaing. But the shadow National Unity Government isn't being included in these talks, which raises questions over their effectiveness. In his first visit, Mr. Prak Sokhonn spent 3 days in Myanmar meeting some stakeholders, including a political party. But not leaders of the ousted National League for Democracy, such as detained State Councillor Aung San Suu Kyi. This time, the ASEAN envoy's trip spans 5 days. But a meeting with Ms. Suu Kyi, who is now in solitary confinement in prison, is again unlikely, as the Myanmar army has stood firm against this. The visit takes place ahead of key ASEAN meetings in Cambodia in end July. It's unlikely that Myanmar will be invited to meetings such as the ASEAN Regional Forum.
I think if the chair is able to, the special envoy is able to get some concessions from Myanmar towards aligning itself with the 5-point consensus, they will seek to get Myanmar back into that conference. And you have to keep in mind, this is a meeting that even the North Korean foreign minister usually attends. And so if Myanmar's foreign minister is not in attendance at that meeting, it is a real signal of just how isolated the junta has become.
For now, all eyes will be on what the envoy achieves during his trip, which will coincide with a visit by China's foreign minister for a regional meeting this weekend. Leung Wai Kit, CNA.